Good evening, and welcome to the New York Report.
In recent news, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, was assassinated, and Serbians are currently being blamed for the assassination.
Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia because of this assassination. Russia mobilized against Austria-Hungary because of a treaty with Serbia. Germany declared war on Russia and France because of Russia's mobilization of troops at the German border. Germany invaded neutral Belgium in order to attack France. Great Britain then declared war on Germany because of a treaty with France.
There are currently two fronts of warfare. On the Western Front, Germany is battling Great Britain and France. However, on the Eastern Front, Germany and Austria-Hungary are battling Russia.
The U.S. currently wants to trade with warring nations. The U.S. would remain neutral, however, Britain holds commanding power at sea. In September of 1914, British imposed naval blockades to cut off Central Power supplies.
In April, just over a year ago, Germany warned that all British or Allied ships would be liable to destruction. Germany launched a U-boat attack to destroy a passenger ship called the Lusitania. This attack incensed Americans and caused many to want to join the war.
The sinking of the Lusitania made President Wilson reconsider his options of staying neutral or joining the war. Neither the Allies nor the Central Powers are interested in peace, so Wilson is endorsing a $1 billion United States military buildup.
Prior to the sinking of the Lusitania, the American public was strongly against joining the war. However, President Wilson's consideration of joining the war has caused some people to take his side. The Sussex Pledge was put into place, in which Germany agreed not to target passenger liners or merchant ships unless they had weapons on them. In February of this year, Germany resumed unrestricted submarine warfare. Because of this, President Wilson broke diplomatic relations with Germany. Several weeks later, the United States intercepted a German dispatch going to Mexico from Foreign Minister Arthur Zimmerman. This telegram was published in newspapers across the country.
The telegram urged Mexico to join the Central Powers and attack America. Germany promised to help Mexico recover Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona after Mexico attacked the United States. This threat is jolting the American public opinion. Many Americans are remembering the Pancho Villa border raids. Germany is continuing to attack United States ships. On March 18th, 3 American ships were attacked by Germans. On April 2nd, President Woodrow Wilson asked Congress for a declaration of war. Germany trampled American rights, imperiled trade, and the lives of Americans.
President Wilson has said that we desire no conquest, no material compensation for the sacrifices we shall freely make. He has also decreed that America's goal in joining the war will be to make the world safe for democracy.
On April 6th, the U.S. declared war. Many Americans have divided views about this declaration. 6 senators and 50 House representatives, including Jeanette Rankin of Montana, voted against the war. Rankin was the first woman to be elected into Congress.
Although she knew that the war would be best for the country, she stated in front of Congress, "You can no more win a war than you can win an earthquake. I want to stand by my country, but I cannot vote for war."
President Woodrow Wilson has created the Committee on Public Information during this past April, led by George Creel. The CPI has been spreading information using 4 Minutemen who have been speaking in movie theaters to promote the war effort. They've been encouraging democracy and spreading American patriotism. Many German spies have been reported, spreading the nativist movement further. The Sedition Act of this year has prohibited actions and words that might encourage resistance to the U.S. government. At least 1,000 people so far have been convicted due to the Sedition and Espionage Acts. Whether they've been wrongly accused or not, many pacifists and peace activists have been punished.
In the recent court case, Shank versus the United States, the Supreme Court upheld conviction of a socialist who promoted resistance to the draft through the use of pamphlets. In another recent Supreme Court case, Abrams versus the United States, the Supreme Court ruled that authorities could prosecute speech that posed a clear and present danger to the safety of the country. This decision launched further legal debates over the freedom of speech.
Only 200,000 soldiers in the American Army, the United States has instituted a draft. On June 5th, more than 9.5 million men have signed up to fight in the Great War.
Wilson had General Pershing head the American Expeditionary Force, also known as the AEF. General Pershing had to build an army and a fleet of ships that could sail across the Atlantic.
The Great War has come to an end, and the belligerent nations have experienced many casualties. As you can see on the Allies side, Russia has lost 1.8 million soldiers and 2 million civilians. France has lost 1,385,300 soldiers and 40,000 civilians. The UK has lost 702,410 soldiers and 1,386 civilians. The United States has lost 51,822 soldiers and very few civilians. For the Central Powers, Germany has lost 2,037,000 soldiers and 700,000 civilians. Austria-Hungary has lost 1,016,200 soldiers, and the total civilian deaths is unknown. This concludes the casualty report.
Tonight on the New York Report, we will be discussing how the Great War has impacted the lives of working Americans. The Great War created jobs and economic opportunities for many. The absence of working and middle-class men from their jobs created jobs for African Americans. About 400,000 African American men and women moved north for jobs in what is now being called the Great Migration. African Americans in the North still encounter discrimination, but are celebrating their escape from the repressive racism that they endured in the South. One woman reported to her sister back home that it is a matter of $1 with me, and I feel God made the path, and I am walking therein.
Labor shortages prompted Mexican Americans to leave farming for industrial jobs in the North. 1 million women joined the workforce, while 8 million more gave up low-paying jobs for higher-paying industrial jobs. Women also started taking positions in male-dominated fields such as streetcar conducting and train engineering. The Great War advanced the lives of women in the workforce.
Tonight on the New York Report, we'll be featuring a geography specialist to review the important events and battles of the Great War.
Okay, during the Great War, many important battles were fought here on the Western Front between French and German troops. Several battles were fought in Belgium, including Ypres, where 3 separate battles were fought in 1914, 15, and 17. Here, in France, was the Battle of the Somme, which took place from July to November of 1916. Slightly further south, after the front passed Paris, is the Battle of the Marne, which was fought in September of 1914, and the Battle of Verdun, very close to the final front of the war, which was fought in February through December of 1916. Over here, on the eastern front of the war, battles were fought between Russian and Austro-Hungarian and German troops here, including the battles of Tannenberg and Warsaw, which were fought in August of 1914 and October of 1914, respectively.
This evening on the New York Report, I will be interviewing the president of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, Carrie Chapman Catt, and finding out her views on the proposed 19th Amendment, which will give women voting rights. How do you think women will be able to gain their voting rights?
I believe that to win the ballot, women have to show their patriotism.
And how do members of your organization show their patriotism?
Well, members of our organization promote food conservation and distribute emergency relief through organizations such as the Red Cross.
In what ways has the war affected women's rights?
Well, the war has brought some positive changes for women. While the men are fighting, we on the home front have gained economic and political opportunity.
That concludes the interview. Thank you for your time, Ms. Catt.